Since the introduction of tariffs on a wide range of goods, various U.S. industries have felt the economic pressure of increased costs, disruptions to their supply chains, and reduced international competitiveness. While some industries see tariffs as a means of protecting domestic interests, many sectors are pushing for a repeal of these trade restrictions. As we approach 2025, these industries are advocating for changes in tariff policies that would reduce costs and improve their ability to operate efficiently. In this video, we will explore the top 10 U.S. industries that are pushing for the repeal of tariffs and why they are making these calls. 1. Automotive industry. The U.S. automotive industry has been one of the most vocal opponents of tariffs, especially those imposed on steel, aluminum, and foreign-made vehicle parts. Automakers have expressed concerns about higher production costs that ultimately affect the price of consumer vehicles. With the global auto market already facing challenges such as supply chain disruptions and changing consumer preferences, these tariffs only add to the financial burden. Auto manufacturers, particularly those with international supply chains, are urging the government to repeal tariffs to reduce production costs and keep car prices competitive. 2. Agriculture and farming. U.S. farmers and agricultural producers have faced significant challenges under tariffs, particularly those imposed on exports of agricultural goods. For example, China's retaliatory tariffs on American soybeans, pork, and other crops have hurt farmers' bottom lines. These industries are pushing for tariff repeal to ensure access to international markets and reduce the cost of imported agricultural inputs, such as machinery and fertilizers. Many agricultural groups are advocating for free trade policies that would allow them to compete more effectively on a global scale. 3. Technology and electronics. The technology and electronics industries are pushing for the repeal of tariffs on imported components, such as semiconductors, microchips, and other crucial electronic parts. Tariffs on these materials increase the cost of manufacturing and create delays in production. This is especially true for U.S. tech giants who rely on a global network of suppliers for components. With companies facing intense global competition, particularly from countries like China, the tech industry is lobbying for tariff repeal to lower production costs and reduce the risk of disrupted supply chains. 4. Retail. The retail industry, including major chains and e-commerce platforms, has felt the impact of tariffs, particularly those on imported consumer goods. Tariffs on products like clothing, electronics, and household items increase the price of goods for both retailers and consumers. This results in higher costs for customers and reduced sales for retailers. Retail organizations are pushing for tariff repeal in the hope that it will reduce inflationary pressure on the cost of living and help them maintain their profit margins in an increasingly competitive market. 5. Consumer goods manufacturers. Consumer goods manufacturers, particularly those producing household products and packaged goods, have struggled with higher input costs due to tariffs. These industries rely heavily on imported materials and finished goods from other countries. With tariffs driving up the cost of these imports, manufacturers have had to raise prices or absorb the increased expenses, hurting profitability. To remain competitive in both domestic and global markets, many consumer goods companies are advocating for the removal of tariffs. 6. Textile and apparel. The textile and apparel industry is another key sector affected by tariffs, particularly on imported fabrics and finished garments. While the U.S. has a robust textile industry, it relies on imports for many types of fabric and apparel items, especially those produced in countries like China, Bangladesh, and Vietnam. Tariffs on these goods increase production costs and make U.S. retailers less competitive in the global market. As a result, textile and apparel manufacturers are calling for a repeal of tariffs to help reduce costs and maintain price competitiveness. 7. Construction. The construction industry, particularly in the U.S., has been significantly impacted by tariffs on steel and aluminum, two vital materials used in building infrastructure and housing. The increased cost of raw materials has led to higher construction costs, delaying projects and making housing less affordable. Trade groups representing contractors, builders, and developers have expressed concerns over rising material costs and are advocating for tariff repeal to bring down prices and encourage more construction activity, particularly in affordable housing. 8. Aerospace. The aerospace industry, including both aircraft manufacturers and suppliers of parts and components, has been affected by tariffs on certain materials such as aluminum, titanium, and other specialized alloys. These materials are essential for the production of airplanes, satellites, and defense systems. As the aerospace sector is highly globalized and competitive, tariffs add unnecessary costs that impact the pricing of aerospace products. This industry is pushing for the removal of tariffs to help reduce manufacturing costs and keep U.S. aerospace products competitive in the global market. 9. Pharmaceuticals and medical devices. Pharmaceutical companies and medical device manufacturers also face challenges from tariffs, particularly on imported components needed for the production of life-saving drugs and medical equipment. High tariffs on raw materials, such as chemicals, plastics, and specialized equipment, increase production costs. These industries are advocating for tariff repeal to help reduce healthcare costs and ensure that medical products remain affordable and accessible to consumers in the U.S. and abroad. 10. Renewable energy. The renewable energy sector, including solar and wind energy, has faced the impact of tariffs on imported solar panels, turbines, and related equipment. While the U.S. government has pushed for a transition to cleaner energy, tariffs on critical materials such as solar panels have hindered the affordability and widespread adoption of renewable energy technologies. Renewable energy advocates argue that tariff repeal would reduce costs and accelerate the transition to cleaner energy sources, aligning with broader climate and sustainability goals. In 2025, many U.S. industries are actively pushing for the repeal of tariffs, citing the negative impact on their competitiveness, production costs, and profitability. From the automotive and agriculture sectors to technology, retail, and renewable energy, the overarching concern is that tariffs are limiting growth opportunities and increasing prices for consumers. To address these challenges, industry leaders are calling for policy changes that would reduce trade barriers and facilitate a more efficient and cost-effective global trade environment. Whether or not these calls are answered will shape the future of U.S. trade and the industries that drive the economy.